Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
There's only one other good play on Minnesota.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports back with another UFC fight night. MOICANO versus Duncan. People are calling this one of the worst cards of all time. They weren't with us when we were trying to break down Aspen Ladd against who the hell knows, Jermaine Durandamy or something like that. Those were the days that there was nothing. But hey, we have a lot of fights to pick. We always like that. And there's opportunity up and down the board this week for damn sure. Wide open card, lots of closely lined cards, and then two absolute mammoth favorites, one making their debut. It's a cycle that we continue to see, right? A lot of hype off a Contender Series. Then they get a massive win off of a crappy opponent. And what do? They continue to get the price tag past 1,000, minus 1,000. What do you think? It's like it's got to crash sometime, but it's like, all right, UFC is just like, here you go. Yaki and McMillan, right? Yaki already had a fight in the UFC. McMillan, he's got the cupcake of all cupcake matchups.
Well, one thing that I just want to remind people who are calling this the worst card ever or whatever, it can always be worse. All right. As someone who runs a company and, it can always get worse. So to those saying that, trust me, it can be worse. And you just never know, like, when the fights are going to end up, even if it's two not so great fighters or a bunch of not so great fighters pulled together. You never know when we just get a few bangers, right, Mike? I mean, last week was just bangers up and down the card, absolute like sick finishes. And I mean, we got to get into last week just a little bit. And I know people don't want to, they want to talk about this week and stuff, but we have to
celebrate,
talk
baby,
about it a little bit because we were all over some of these calls. I mean, I went back and just watched the last like 2 minutes of our show when we did the best bets. If you just listened to the last 2 minutes of this show last week, you would have had went 6 or 7-1, all in like all plus money winners, pretty much. Alexa Grasso, money line. We both liked Douglas by KO in the first round. We both love Douglas core play. That dude's a friggin' beast, by the way. Absolute fucking monster there. But it just going through the card. Joe Piper, money line, bang. Yersi, bang. Told you guys he was gonna win, money line, bang. And then my boy Lance Gibson getting it done with the big KO, plus 550. Or just the money line if you just didn't want to bet the TKO. But I talked about the TKO on this show. We bet it. And I pulled this little bet slip together over on DraftKings Sportsbook here. Dropped it in the Discord. If anyone saw it.
Before lock. All time stamped. With
right
a monster. Absolute monster. And the thing is, you got to maximize those cards where you're hitting, what did you say, 7-1, 6-1. Like, that's the way you do it right there, folks. And Terrence McKinney, round one, plus money. I mean,
that's the way he was winning. So we knew that. Like, if he was
winning.
Most
people are taking the under 1.5 on there. It's like, why? I don't think you need to get, crazy. It's Terrence McKinney when he's coming and winning under 1.5. So, yeah, I mean, what a monster slip. Congratulations. That went pretty crazy. Let's be honest. It got some steam, and I was more impressed that it was just somebody asked right in Discord, what's some plays, JSU? And you just laid it out. You sent the link. Yeah. The link where you can click it and it automatically puts it into your slip?
I posted the link. Yeah. I posted the link.
All you had to do is press that link, enter the wager amount, and you got 117 essentially. Round up a little. Why not give the kid a round up to 1? How much is that? Baby room money? Is that diaper money? What is this, JSU?
I mean, it's definitely going to be some baby money.
It's got to be, whether you want it or not.
But either way, it's going to be some play money for this weekend too. So, we'll be firing. I'll be firing in the Discord. I'm going to post, I'm going to post something later on for the members and stuff in there. Try and see if we can go 6-0 again. I feel like 6 is a good number. Six winners, get 100 plus the 1, Mike. I think that's what I got to keep that train going. So
I really
know
like
people love doing
market.
the cycle parlays. Shout out to what's his name, Maddie Bet, Twitter, who crushes the cycle parlays here. But we don't want to take from other people, so I might have to he does 3, I might have to go 6. Go 3 extra. I don't want to steal his thunder. You know what I mean?
You know my style. We play a little differently. We can still be profitable at this thing. I like the round robin. Folks, you don't have to go all for it. If you're going to have this type of plus money, imagine a round robin is still going to pay a significant amount. I know you're paying a little rake. Guys, we're in it to make it money long term. That's a nice. Even if you missed one, what do you say, 7-1 with one of the last picks we had, that still makes money for everybody in there. And not to mention the singles bettors, right? Like the singles bettors are printing.
I forgot to one other really good call you had. And I'll give you credit for it. Actually, it was a good call. You had Tofik, and this was another prop you gave at the end of the show over on takedowns. And I think like ladder. 2 or 3 was like plus 500 or something like that. I forget. Did he end with 2 or 3? I can't remember.
He got right at the hook. I think it might have been 2, but it did pay for itself. The first ring, the first ring paid for itself. The second one paid.
Even though that dude was a cheater and a half and should have lost that fight. That was an egregious fence grab. I mean, that's bullshit. They need to fix that. Put them down on their ass if they fence grab that bad. Like, if it's that egregious, put them down. Like, that was ridiculous.
It was 2-hand. I don't know if I've ever seen the 2-hand that, like, he was up in the air and held. Like, that's crazy. Also, Bahamondes. Woo-wee. Imagine if he could shore up that takedown defense, man. He's just a monster. The amount of blood in that fight.
That cut was brutal, though.
Yeah.
I think the fight plays out differently, even with the fence grab, if he doesn't have that just crazy cut that he got.
Yeah.
Couldn't see.
For sure. I had to tell you, you get Tofik in that parlay, oh, man, you get 5 more babies out of that one. You know how we're going to get 5 more baby money is from this card here. I hope we get some combined thinking on this because it is a tough card top to bottom. Lower level means sloppiness, means something. Some of these guys are going to look like minus 1,000. What do you think? Do you think there's all these close fights? Let's keep those 2 big boys up top. I think there's going to be a lot of like 50-50 type of fights, legitimately, not just because based on the betting line, but they have distinct paths of victory.
I was gonna say there's a lot of those betting lines there where you can tell like the line is just telling you on its own, like these fighters have clear paths, and it's like one has one path, one has the other, and that's why you see I think a decent amount of closely lined fights. I just want to shout out my boy Rod. I saw you posted in there. He said last week was legendary. I hit on 5 underdogs there. Rod had a big week. I saw that in the Discord. Appreciate you, Rod, watching. And don't forget, guys, smash the like button. Even if you're not in the Discord, this show is free. Gave out a ton of winners last week. I feel like we've given out a bunch of winners, at least on the betting side, the last couple weeks. So let's smash that like button here. We appreciate all the likes.
Right? I think we always have to go into it and say DFS is super tough nowadays. So it's like you got a 1 fight sample size. I feel like you run these fights 100 times, you and I are even more golden, aren't we? Like we look like $1 million even more. But
you look like $1 million. I hit or miss.
Stop. Hey, that's fine. Balance is a beautiful thing. That's right. Balance is 2 guys that are outside of the UFC on Monday morning. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, guys, you want to fight on this week's card? Yeah, I've been waiting to come back into the UFC. I'm Kamaka. minus 162 favorite against Dakota Hope. Kamaka, general striking guy, like a little bit of everything, but generally okay. Hope making his debut. Hope might be one of those survive type of guys. I think Kamaka's experience might shine here. I don't know about you. I think that there's a couple of these fights where I feel like Hope might stall it out, try to hold him against the cage, which could be good for scoring. Takedown wise, you think there's going to be anything to be had from takedown and fantasy? If this thing goes to cards, out of all of these like mid-range card fights, I feel like this is the one that I kind of feel like could just be negating itself on the feet if it goes to the cards for fantasy wise.
Yeah, I think first of all, Kai Kamaka is probably the better striker here. Not as much power with Kamaka, but he does have good combination, mixes in the leg kicks pretty well with his combos. So I and the speed's decent. I do like what I see with him on the feet. Dakota is more like he's more like the very raw, athletic, super strong for this weight class. He's going to be the more powerful guy. He's going to throw with more power. He's going to be like with the wrestling and stuff. I don't think his takedowns are amazing, but it's just like raw strength, right, Mike? He's just like stronger. At a certain point, though, the longer this fight goes, it's going to lean to Kamaka with the experience. I think with Dakota Hope kind of putting everything into the takedowns like he does. But Hope does have, I think, the finishing upside and the takedown upside for DFS. So I think from a DFS standpoint, I lean dog here. And I think I'm going to bet Hope at plus money. I think he's at plus money. I think he's my lean here too. But I do agree with you that the overall better striker is definitely Kamaka. I think Hope is definitely more the, powerful type of guy that could have bigger moments, in this fight. But it's definitely, if he doesn't get takedowns, Mike, Kamaka could look like a minus 300 favorite.
Oh, that's 1,000% true. And then you're looking at a second or a third round finish, right? Like that's one of those situations where I almost feel like you want to get to the cards where he's got a zillion significant strikes and you get the 30, for the win instead of just the finish equity, because it could just be pillage. But I agree 100%. Hope is the DFS side of things. I think if you're playing Kamaka, you're hoping for that domination late. And, you look at a lot of Hope's wins, it's like 5 knockouts to 1 sub. It's not like we've seen Kamaka really get subbed all the time. And he stayed active. Once he got cut from the UFC, he stayed active. Do you remember him in the UFC? Because I feel like he was like a lot better, but then he never really panned out like when he was in the UFC. Like he just never got over the hurdle of like being a generalist going to a decision, because the UFC does not like these guys.
Yeah, you could see why they wouldn't like someone like that. So obviously with the way they're going.
You just got to love when you're looking at him fighting on Tough Enough, right? Against Diego Brandao at 30. Diego Brandao has been fighting as out of the grave for the last 3 to 5 years, like insane. He's going to a split decision. So definitely a potential for Hope to spring the upset. I wish I could get my plus 3.5 at better price tag. It's minus 225. That might be like a sneaky parlay piece just because of the fact that he should win round 1. Also, he should win round 1. I think Hope being more physical, even holding against the cage a little bit. And I think maybe if he gets that little patter, right, that control time against the cage, even if the takedown doesn't exist, that's hidden scoring that we need, especially on this slate where I think you could see some high scoring. But hey, we said it last week, this is going to be a bum card. It's going to be all decisions. And then you get a finish after finish, one of the greatest finishes of all time. Can we talk about the Grasso one real quick? I don't want to derail us because it's going to be a long.
You're going to get me tilted and totally derailed here with the Alexa Grasso finish, because I posted on Twitter. I posted on Twitter after Mike, and I got a ton of responses, honestly, which again, I was pretty shocked at like all the different responses that I got, but a lot of people were not happy with me that I just simply asked the question with the picture. I added the picture for visual, evidence on my side, but I just pretty much said like, I still don't understand how this is ruled a KO finish when she's clearly getting choked. I get it. Everyone's coming back with me saying, she was knocked out before the choke was put in place.
Look the rule book, folks. The rule book is this.
I understand, though, she was knocked out prior, but the ref didn't stop the fight. So if the ref, and just so people can see, if you somehow missed this, by the way, amazing finish by Alexa Grasso. Can't take anything away from this, but look at this, Mike.
That's a knockout.
Submission?
That's a knockout, dog. Sorry, man. That's a knockout.
Is that a submission win? What are we fucking talking about here? I mean, I don't get it.
I'm backing your point. I'm with you 1,000%. Two quick things. One way to stop a fight, wave it off. Second way, do you know the second way to end a fight? You get touched by the referee, aka they're ripping you off. You're supposed to stop. A referee touches you, you stop. That's how it ends. So by rule, it is a submission because who was the ref? I'm trying to remember. They were so far away. They were so far away from the knockout.
Merguliati? Dan is his name?
Dan. So whoever it was, they didn't get there until the submission is in and then touched, and then it's over. It's a submission. I saw tickets, by submission on Twitter at like plus 2,000.
Yeah.
And I feel for those guys. At least they have that for the rest of their lives. Horrible beat. That, again, rule book says wave it off, and he never waved it off.
It never waved it off. There's even another picture that I posted to some of the people that were going back and forth with me. They were like, oh, well, he didn't hesitate. He just didn't see. He didn't see her get knocked out. And I'm like, what? He didn't see her leg fall, like literally fall behind her ass, like her one leg. Like right when you see that, I feel like that's enough evidence to be like, hey, this chick is out.
Yeah, wave it and run.
He's staring. I have the picture of his feet pointed right towards Macy Barber. He's staring clearly right at her from the side and then lets her get choked instead of just running in and saying, nope, it's over. Stop. It's ridiculous. That's a submission. I can't believe they ruled it a KO. That was weird. That's my
Too
rant.
bad we only had the plus 160 money line in there, Anyways, how can you ever touch Macy Barber ever again? She also got knocked out the fight before. If you remember, it was like an up kick or something, and she was, but that's for another time. We go from, that was high level women's MMA. Who knows though, right? Like, is Macy Barber high level anymore?
We're not arguing though that she was knocked out. See, this is where people don't understand.
They can't discern the two.
You keep saying that it was a clear knockout. We're not arguing that. We're arguing when the ref stops the fight is when it's over. You know what I mean? If that's the case, you know how many guys get knocked out and are just stumbling around and they let it go on for longer? And they're clearly done. I mean, shit, the Ricky Simone fight, if there was like 10 more seconds, they should have ruled that a KO. He was pretty much out.
Well, so, God, we could talk MMA all day long. The reason I'm going to make a point of it is if you saw how well that was reffed, Beltran, I think, was the ref. He walked straight up towards him, said, do not touch him, moved his whole people away, and he wanted to make sure he answered the bell. The rule is, even in boxing, I'm wearing a boxing shirt, you have to answer the bell. That's the rule across almost all combat sports.
I remember seeing that. He did do a good job in that fight. He did a very good job.
Two spectrums of the world right there. But will we need the judges? I'm going to go off of DraftKings Sportsbook. I have the fight odds. There's some different orders here for today, but I'm just going to go off the sports book. Is that should be the way, right? Why not? Diane Barbosa versus Melissa Gatto. We have Barbosa still as the favorite. A lot of money coming down on Gatto. Barbosa minus 112 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Gatto, a minus 108. I want to target this fight. I really, really want to target this fight for fantasy because I think it could be very violent. I think there's a possibility for knockouts, submissions, dominant win either way. I guess I worry if Barbosa gets off early, probably a round and a half of grappling that stalls out. But Gatto's been out of the game for, I believe, 2 years now. These Brazilian girls, when they're out 2 years, unless they're just on the couch eating chips, they usually take it pretty serious. I thought she was a hot commodity coming into the UFC. Only 9-2-2. The only titty KO of all time. She KO'd Fadal last time out as a minus 400 favorite.
Yeah, great.
Talk about rule book. I actually don't even know the rule on that, if there's a timeout for a breast punch or not. But yeah, that's time talk for another day. She's a violent woman, and I look at Barbosa as violent until that gas tank starts getting diminished. And I mean violent as in try to get it to the mat, try to submit you, try to get you out of there, right? That's where I say violence. I've liked Gatto all week long. I missed the boat when she was bigger plus money. There's a size advantage, there's the striking advantage on the feet. I'm as bold to say I wouldn't be surprised if there was a knockout in this fight. Barbosa is one of those ones that just survives to the bell. What was the Silva one? It's like most of these are like split decisions, right? Like it's never.
Are you kidding me right now? Do you really go there with Barbosa and Silva? I mean, Barbosa won that fight. I could watch that fight over 1,000 times.
Submission attempts. There's no offense.
I've never like literally that could be one of the biggest robberies I can remember.
Yes, I agree. I actually agree. I know you thought I was going to go the other way, but I'm just saying she was surviving, right? By using submissions to try to score on the scorecards. Like that's not how the rule book works either. You should be getting offense first, striking. Striking is the first criteria. So yes, I agree. And I mean, she was minus 1,000 against Diana Belbeat the fight before. It's like cross that out.
I mean, that was the easiest submission win of all time. I still remember that was just so easy. This fight to me seems, I think it's a very simple breakdown here. Both these girls have sick grappling. I think the grappling is going to kind of nullify itself here, Mike. So I think this fight is going to play out primarily on the feet. I don't hate your take in general of maybe we see a knockout, because I do think we're going to see 3 rounds of a lot of striking, or a lot more striking than what you normally see these girls do, because of the grappling that both these girls have are pretty elite from that standpoint. I personally think Barbosa's a little better everywhere. It sounds like you think Gatto is a little better everywhere. So that's where we kind of differ in the finish of our take. It sounds like you wanted to bet Grasso at plus money. I like Barbosa. The line's starting to kind of come back a little bit on Gatto, and it looks like maybe she could flip to a favorite. I think it was like Barbosa was like minus 112, and Gatto was like minus 108 the last time I looked at the line a little earlier today. So the line is definitely moving. Yeah, it's a coin flip, but it's moving towards Gatto a little bit here. And I think it's because the striking is, even though I think Barbosa is the better striker and the slightly better grappler, I think the gap is extremely close.
It's the rangier striking. That's the whole thing, I think, that people are seeing driving the line down to Gatto. It's only a 3-inch reach advantage, but it's rangy striking, where I feel like Barbosa has to crash distance in order to do it. Now, Gatto has struggled. I will give you that. Again, sometimes the clinch, giving up significant strikes in this clinch, not looking the best, not being as physical as you really want her to be. And I like to take that the grappling could negate itself.
But so don't you think that this could be an extremely boring fight for DFS if we get 3 rounds of striking from these females? Because I don't know if either one is going to have the pop to put the other one just clean out. So we're going to need volume. And in a mostly striking match, with these two, I don't think volume's going to be that's not their strength, right? So where's the scoring coming from if there's not a finish? I don't think there is, because I don't think there's going to be as many takedowns.
clinch, that would be the only thing. And you
And I
really
think
need
they're
to
gonna
dominate.
kind of have a little bit success each with the clinch. I don't think it's gonna be one dominating the other. So my take in this fight is I think it's probably a bad DFS fight in general. I think Barbosa at the favorite pricing, what she 8,500. It feels like they kind of priced her out, Mike, to where I
Yep.
can't even play her. And honestly, I don't even want to play Gatto, but I think even though I like Barbosa more, I think Gatto would be just at the cheaper tag, the better DFS play. But I'm betting Barbosa. I think Barbosa wins. I'm
Wow.
okay with this line coming closer. I think she's the better fighter, and I think she's slightly better in each area of the fight.
Can we both agree this is a Diana Barbosa fight where you got to monitor the live betting and get into
Definitely.
the Run Pure Sports Discord, where we're going to be saying this girl is at least plus 500 or higher, whichever one it ends up being, she's winning, and this is a close
So
fight.
I think this is going to be a fight where when I bet Barbosa and you bet Gatto, we're going to both think that our fighter won round
Yeah.
one. We're going to
Hate
both
it.
think our
Hate it.
fighter won round two. This is good. This got split decision written all over it. But
I'll
that's
even-
why I don't like 8,500 Barbosa. I don't think we see a ton of takedowns. And if we're not getting takedowns, where's the scoring coming from? I just don't see the high scoring.
Yeah, I'll concede to you. I think even Barbosa wins the first round. She's a pretty decent first round fighter on the scorecards.
Yeah,
Gatto is going to be 30%. So
I'll say this though: if the prices were flipped, you'd be saying the exact same thing about It's the price tag on Gatto that makes you interested in DFS. If they were both 7,700, like, yeah, I'd like Barbosa too at 7,700.
There's value, boys, and I think Gatto has the same thing that what is Mike like? He always loves his inside the distance lines. Gatto has a severely better inside the distance line than Barbosa. It was like plus 400 on DraftKings, best price out there for Gatto. Guess who's going to be sprinkling that as you and I are talking right now?
Plus 400 inside the distance.
So that is best price on market too, JSU. Well, DraftKings.
What's
and
Barbosa, like 800, 600?
Plus 550 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I very much like that, and I will, when you are breaking down your next fight, probably be sprinkling on that plus 400. And I'm going to be
I told you last week about sprinkling.
Yeah, I'm going to be probably hitting the KO too, but that's just because I am a little bit of a wild man. And ownership wise, Slappy does make a point, right? Like, it's harder to play Gatto at 30%. If she was lower owned, and with Estabbomb right there, with that grappling, it's like, oh man, he should eat up all that ownership. You're going to need Gatto to really go in there with a high pace. I do think the pace of fight's a little bit stronger than you, it sounds like, but we'll go over things overall a little bit later.
And Gatto's coming in like with decent ownership, right? Like,
yeah, which I think makes her less of a play, which is funny because I like her, right? Like, I can't justify 30% ownership on a 13.
Yeah, but you can like a girl from a betting standpoint and not like her for DFS.
Yeah,
I'm the same way with Barbosa. I want to bet her, but I don't like her at 8,500.
I mean, I think there's going to be some interesting potentially, if you really want to get wild, 4-dog lineups that gets you up towards those Azamat Bakoyf versus Tresean Gores. Azamat Bakoyf on this fight coming in as a minus 625 DraftKings Sportsbook at the moment. Tresean Gore plus 455. Are you buying in to the new Tresean Gore? 5-4 in the actually in professional MMA. He looks better, man. The thing is, he's in great shape. He's taking this fight. What are these narratives that are coming out? Yeah, he's taking the fight serious. He's on the chopping block. I understand the point. He's got to really have to bite down on the mouthpiece that first round and hope Bakoyf blows his load. But he's going to have to deal with a lot, I think. And Bakoyf is one of those letdown spots. Your guy, Bulgari, last time out, exposes Bakoyf, gets him out of there late. That's probably, sadly, the same thing Tresean Gore has to do. I mean, maybe if Bakoyf shoots into something silly, he could shoot into a guillotine or something. I'm clickbaiting just in case he actually does it, but I don't really know. I don't I think Bakoyf is faster, more physical. He probably can do whatever he wants in the fight, but he wants to keep it on the feet. And that worries me a tiny little bit. Out of all of these big favorites, the big three, we'll call them, he's a little bit of a concern. I mean, how can you confidently get behind Bakoyf?
Well, first of all, shout out to you for that professional transition right there. But second of all, to this fight, I told you guys Belgari is fucking legit. Okay. I told you when he fought this dude in last week when everyone was saying, "Oh, Mansour, I don't know. He's got the wrestling. Everyone's saying he's got this, he's got that." And I told you it's not going to fucking matter. This dude Belgari is fucking huge, and he is so long, and he is so precise with his strikes. And Mansour had fought nobodies. He fought cans. I mean, Nick Klein, like who dropped him. So now we get Azamat, who everybody loved last time out. He gets fucking demolished, right? Can't do nothing. Now, I saw a picture, Mike, from the weigh-ins, his last fight and then this fight. I don't know if you saw the picture. He was completely drained his last fight. This fight, he looked a lot better on the scales. And this is like the UFC saying, "Hey, man, we gave you a killer last time. We didn't know it was going to go that way. We might not have seen that. We'll give you Tresean Gore here, Mike. This is gonna step you back in to competition." And I think Azamat's going to come in. I think he's going to look like the favorite that everyone thought he was going to look like last time out, and have a lot of success here. Probably finish him in the first or second round here and get the KO. So I'm on the Azamat side. I think he gets the KO. It's not a crazy take or anything like that, but it's Tresean Gore. I'm just not a fan of Tresean Gore. I think he might be taking it seriously, obviously, but I think Azamat took the loss personally. And I think now people realize how good Belgari is, but I don't even think after that fight people did until he fought last week and said, "Oh shit, no, this guy's real."
Yes. Belgari also out of that Texera gym in Connecticut. Alex Pereira, oh my God, 2 or 3 prospects. When I was on the Massachusetts scene, right, there was a kid fighting in Boston. When did I go? Like 3-4 weeks ago, right? There was a kid in the amateurs against a Kazaki undefeated guy. You know what they're doing. They're like, Connecticut guy, nobody versus Kazaki, 8-0 Ami, right? The dude demolishes. Kyle Bowler was his name. That guy demolished the Kazaki, broke him down, full mount, punched him out. That gym is really on fire. So I just wanted to give you props on Belgari, right? Like that's night and day.
And right here, Mad, whatever his fucking name is. You also said Victoria Leonardi was going to beat Kong Wang. I did. I also said Gabby Fernandez was going to finish Kong Wang. I didn't say I get everything right, but fuck. I mean, plus 1,200 inside the distance. I mean, when you take when people don't realize, Mike, when you take these big dogs, I don't think they realize, like, one, most people don't bet big dogs, okay? They might pick them, but they don't bet them, okay? When I pick them, I bet them. And 2, you hit, like, 1 or 2 of these, that, like, makes your whole card. It literally, like, it's huge.
Do you remember what I said? Do you remember what I said last card?
No, you said a lot of things because
I'm a wild man. I said scatter shot the dogs. This is a card where you scatter shot the dogs, meaning you just need to hit like 3-4 of them and then just hit on 2 of them. And you're
we hit like 6 of them, Mike.
Well, correct. So then you're maximizing it. But that's the whole situation is mathematically you're betting.
It's different though, Mike. You'll even agree with this. Like picking Joe Pyfer, it was a great pick, but I'm saying like picking him at like plus 120, that's different than picking like a plus 800 dog. Like people don't understand. You don't hit many plus 800 dogs. You hit a couple in a year. That's huge. But no one wants to pick them because everyone's afraid that, everyone's obviously afraid. I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'll pick Victoria Leonardi or whatever her name is at plus 1,000. She loses, she loses. I'll still come back and I'll pick Gabby Fernandez inside the distance. It's gonna weigh out at the end of the day, and I don't need to pick many right for it to be plus on my side. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas everyone else would just stay away. I'm not afraid to look dumb and pick a plus 550 or plus 800 fighter. That just is what it is.
And do you really want to go for the Tresean Gore who gets beat up in the first round, wears a lot of damage? Again, the way he wins the fight is the exact same mold as the last fight. And Tresean Gore doesn't have the reach, the ability to keep it at range to kind of keep him off him until, second and third round. And I certainly don't think Tresean's going to finish him in the second and third round. I think the willpower could get Bakoyf to a decision.
He can last? I think that's the question.
Well, 1.5. That's what I wanted to bring up. Good transition. 1.5 was minus on this total for this fight. 1.5 over is minus 180 on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's a trappy line, is it not? They're saying he lasts. Basically, almost 60%.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
That we'll see.
I will say.
Are you going under or over? I'm going to take the under, I think. But
I want to take the over.
Yeah, you think Tresean can last?
Well, what if Bakoyf just says, all right, I can outpoint him, and just like
he definitely could say that.
Yeah, which is like the get right spot. All right, thanks for the get right, where I can just dance around and outpoint them. So I think that's where the over comes into play. From a DFS standpoint, Bakoyf is going to be extremely popular because two guys above him are so much more expensive that you really have to sacrifice to get to him, right? 9,500 for Bakoyf, a guy who has to be exact. I think you really need 105. You could argue closer to 110, right? And then you have McMillan at 98 and 99 for Yaki. I think he's going to be popular and eat ownership because he is price prohibitive for those 98 and 99s. I'll be interested to hear how you're going to handle that situation with those two big boys, but I think Bakoyf's going to be very popular because he's off of that price range, which $400. Give me the 400 to play with on this slate. I need it, and I'm certain that you're going to need that money as well. Let's move on to the next fight of the night, where we see not Alex Pereira's sister, cousin, daughter. It's Alice Pereira versus Haley Cowan. We have Miss Pereira coming in as the favorite on this slate. She is a minus 135 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Haley Cowan coming in at a plus 114. Ugly. The UFC were very kind to Haley. So I always look at the narratives of what we're trying to do here, right? They were very kind to her coming up through the rankings, right? She was booked in so many spots for the UFC. And, if I'm not mistaken, she pulled out of a lot of spots. So I bet you the UFC finally turned on her and were like, nah, we don't want this. And you rack up 2 losses in the UFC, Lindhorst, Cornoli. They're probably like, all right, time to sell because they want Miss Pereira to be something. This is the girl that gave, was it Campbell, a call and was like fighting out of malls and was like, please give me a shot. Give me a shot. So they give her a shot. And she ends up coming in against Montserrat Rendon, who obviously got steamrolled last time out. She opened in that fight. Did you know this? As a minus 400, Alice Pereira, and she closed minus 150. That's telling that the market kind of said, hey, maybe she's very raw. She's not just raw. She's extremely raw. So 6-1 now. And if spot against an older woman, definitely can outpoint. Well, I obviously, just like you, I'm going to worry about the fantasy. This whole fight comes down to potential clinch control if there is, or output. And I think it's going to be terrible for fantasy. But Haley's, is a gymnast? What was she? Try to go for takedowns, get in that clinch and just rip her down. And I feel like she could later in rounds. And it might be interesting if that happens. But Pereira, just dance. Do the dance on the outside and win this and make it not be anything for fantasy. So I do think Alice has some growth. But that test.
She's 19 years old when she fought Rendon. I mean, she's 20 years old now. So I don't know how much we want to take. I mean, she was fighting like a grown ass woman. and now she's going to fight another grown-ass woman. And no matter what you want to say about Haley Cowan, I don't think Haley Cowan's very good, but she is going to move forward. She's going to try and get takedowns. She's going to try and back you up against the fence. She throws a lot of kicks. You know, she is hittable, though. I think this is one of those fights that's pretty clear. Like, Alice wants to keep it on the feet, and Haley wants to get this thing to the mat. I think if Haley gets it to the mat, Haley's going to look like, you know, a nice favorite here, because I think she'd be able to control Alice a little bit. But obviously, if Alice keeps it standing, which, you know, right now this line saying like we think she might be able to, but it's going to be close. She might get taken down a little bit. It probably ends up being a closer fight here, but the striking definitely leans Pereira. The question is, where's the fantasy upside lie? And I think it lies with Haley in the takedowns.
Yep.
So,
and nobody's going to want to go there. I got to be honest. You got Estabbomb being like the grappler, the guy, 33%. Hope's probably going to be right to 33 to 38%, I'd say. And Gatto's popular. I think Cowan could be the odd girl out. I got to agree with you. And it's not like you need a finish. You absolutely do not need a finish. You can just, what is the decision? She could be 65 points in the decision. That's the one concern.
Yeah, that is my concern, is the decision finish, right? Like that's not going to be enough. I think 65 is going to be, well, maybe it will be enough, honestly. I don't, on this
fantasy card. Points on DraftKings Pick 6, which we can go backwards and pick some up later. 68.5 for Cowan. Actually predicted for more than Miss Pereira at 51.5. So if you really want to fade Pereira, you're taking the under there on the 51.
For you to hit on Pereira at that price tag, you're going to probably need a finish.
Yeah, you know I love my value. So honestly, 51.5 is accurate, right? Is it not? I mean, 30 points for the win. Dance around. Get 100 significant strikes is 40 points. So it's like, so maybe
what's Cowan to get like 2 takedowns and Pereira to like win or something like that?
You and I are dissecting it perfect, because I was going to bring that point up. There are no takedown lines on Pick 6. The ladder for Miss Cowan starts at 3, and it's plus 215 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So it goes up to 6 takedowns at 9 to 1.
That's the game plan.
The thing about that is Pereira's kind of big. She's a big girl. She could put that Derek Lewis esque button. Whoever thought those two words would be in the same sentence? That just goes, you know, the emergency, oh fuck, get up. You know that button he has? He's like, oh fuck this, I'm up. He used to do it early in his career. He'd be like flattened out or something, and he'd just be like, nah, I'm done with this. She could do that type of style, which means Matt returns for Cowan. Might not be bad, but I agree with you. 20% owned Cowan, interesting play. Pereira, extremely tough to play. How do you play Pereira? You can't. I don't think you can. I think she's even worse of a play than, who did we talk about earlier? Barbosa?
Just bet the KO and hope she does it. It's probably like plus 400, plus 450.
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you like 4 fights but don't want to be all in, would you set up a group of at least 3 of these those 8 fighters? What are you thinking?
I mean, if you're really into 4 fights, yeah, I mean, you could do that, honestly.
So it's just picking.
Yeah, right. So you're getting all these different combinations with your favorite I
think it's important to get a low-owned fight. So if you're doing that, I think if you're doing all 4 of the higher-owned fights, you're probably doing it wrong. You want to have that out, right, of having a lower-owned fight. I'm using it as an example. Don't do this. Cowan and Pereira are going to come in severely under-owned as a tandem compared to, let's say, Estabbomb and Ewing, right?
Yeah, like the combination of ownership on this fight is going to be what, like 25%?
If that. The low single owned contest and the higher dollar contest, nobody's playing either of these two ladies. So that's where
I like that. So if you're going to do that rule, then just make sure one of those fights is one of the lower owned fight, which I would assume there would be one fight that maybe he likes that maybe the field is not on.
And let me tell you how I would handle it. I probably would fade. Well, I don't want to give it up yet, but I won't say fade. I would probably be more apt to play Bakoyf and leave money on the table than go that other route, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But great game theory. I love game theory. It's a beautiful thing.
Figured you'd like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to, we go from ugly to uglier to ugliest. Is this the ugliest fight on the slate? Lando Vanata versus Darius Flowers. Two old guys. Stylistically brutal. Could be brutal to watch. Lightweight division. Flowers, cut. We need a fight. We need to add fights. Lando Vanata, how is he on the roster? How is Lando Vanata still on the roster? Didn't know that. But at least he's got more tools, right? Like this guy is minus 218 on DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 180 for Darius Flowers. Go in and grapple. Simple. Lando, get in there, get on those hips, get him down. Fluffy Flowers. He looks like crap. I'm trying so hard to not look at the shape anymore of these guys. I know it's important. You got to factor it in, but I feel like I'm scaling it back from where I used to be, because you can look at a guy and they're fluffy, they're soft around the edges, but they still have hands, they still have power, and you can't deny Flowers could absolutely knock out Lando Vanata on this slate. But you talk about rinse, repeat takedowns potential. Vanata here is in a good spot. I don't like the money going against us. I mean, the line has gone to Flowers a tiny bit on DraftKings, about 20 cents over the last 24 hours. And you look at the ownership side of things, of course, Vanata is going to be the popular guy at 20% with potential for takedowns. And you're looking at 30% for Flowers. I want the takedown upside. I think Vanata could get Flowers out of there. I mean, this guy he's nothing on the ground. And did you ever pull up Flowers' boxing record? I have boxing on my shirt. You're going to love this. If I could stall so you could, I would love to see your face. Just your jaw would hit the floor.
I haven't pulled that up, but I have pulled up his UFC record, and I watched all of those fights, and Darius Flowers is not very good. I will say, though, he fought 3 solid UFC fighters in those 3 fights. I mean, we're looking Evan Elder, solid. Michael Johnson, Jake Matthews, I think is very good. So my point is he's not losing to bums. But like the Evan Elder fight, he was done after, I think after the first like takedown attempt that either him or Evan Elder initiated. The first like takedown and grappling thing, like 2 minutes in, Flowers was tired. And then by the time he sat down on the stool after round 1, he was like shaking his head, and his coaches are like, dude, you got this. And he's literally telling them like, no, I don't. I can't breathe, or whatever he was saying. He was exhausted after 1 round. So, I mean, it was not a good look. And then nobody taps faster than Darius Flowers. You get that dude in any type of submission, he's tapping so fast. Go watch the Evan Elder and Jake Matthews fights. He's tapping like immediately. He wants out quick. So if he gets in those situations with Lando Vanata, who I listened to a clip of, because he's been away from fighting for like 2 years now, Mike, 2.5 years. He said that his grappling and his wrestling specifically have grown and gotten a ton better since he fought last. And I assume, hint, hint, Darius Flowers, we know the grappling is an issue. He's probably going to come in with a heavy wrestling and grappling game plan, which would make sense to me. And if he does that, I think he's live for a submission here. Plus 350 on DraftKings. Lando Vanata, I don't think that's a crazy bet.
Nope, not at all. I love chat. I'm just like you. I'm a little frisky today, right? When we're coming off a winning week, we can call people out. I don't know.
That's when they love. I love how they want to come out right when we win. They want to come out.
Yeah, look at this. I don't know why you would pick Vanata being off 3 years or pick Flowers. Crazy work. We're not freaking picking them. We're here to do DFS.
I think first of all,
betting.
First of all, both are terrible.
Yes.
Both are
We're not
good.
picking them. We're giving the outcomes.
And I'll be honest too, before I went and watched all 3 of Darius Flowers' fights and Lando Vanata's last couple fights, I assumed when I saw the line, Mike, before I went and did the study myself, I saw Flowers at like plus 185, whatever it was, and I was like, fuck, am I going to have to bet Darius Flowers here at plus money? Lando Vanata hasn't fought in years. That was my initial thought just before I went. And then I watched back and I'm like, oh my God, Flowers is a quitter. I can't take even Lando Vanata in the Zellhuber fight, who we know is not very good now, but he struggled with the range of Zellhuber. That's not going to be a thing in this fight. These guys are like the same size pretty much from a height and reach thing. And he was tough, man. He took that knee just flush to the face and kept fighting after that. Like most people be going down and going out, and he just ate that thing. So he's a tough dude, Lando Vanata. No matter what you want to say, and it's just tough though. You know, you see the minus 218, 2.5 years away. You don't want to bet anyone, but I think a fun bet is the sub bet.
Oh, absolutely. It's about numbers. That's why it's like, I think for fantasy.
So are you picking Vanata or are you picking Flowers?
I got Vanata, and I've got I'm starting to use these little freebies they give on other books that give the exact outcome. I'm getting crazy. Like, give me like all the different Vanata type of submissions, man. Like, he could just grab an arm and try to Americana Kimura him, and he would be, like you said, he's a quitter. Give me like 50-1 on that. I'm being silly, but hey, honestly, see, we can come. I love my coffee. You know I love my coffee. I sip on it the whole damn podcast, man. You got it right there. So, see, we can come to agreement. I could see a draw. I could see, literally, think about it. I'm not calling it, but imagine a dominant
fighters suck so bad the judges are like, both these guys deserve to not win.
Flowers 10-8. Vanata, dominates the wrestling for the other 2 rounds. And what fight did we have as a draw last week? That one just was like, oh man, that killed. Oh, it was the win equity fight. It was Yanez, and we had the wrestling.
I was so pissed. I had Yanez in that fight, and I thought he was gonna pull it out in the end. Thought he was gonna do it.
Yeah, back on track. Ownership that I have projected for these guys. Don't know if I've said it yet. I did. Flowers 30%, Vanata 20. Give me some shots on the guy that potentially could wrestle, and it's hard to argue that there's any. Well, what is he playing against, right? What is Flowers playing against? He's playing against MOICANO, right? That's going to get more ownership. Hope's going to get more ownership. Ruscala, I'll talk about a little bit later, and then
Flowers
below,
I won't even get ownership.
Yeah, like a lot of these guys are just 30%. Gatto 30%. Estabbom's going to be coming in more than 30, I think, for sure. Hope going to be a lot more because I think people are on to him. McMillan absolutely in play. So I don't know if I would say scattershot. I think you take your flag on this slate and stick it in. I just don't think you stick it in on Darius Flowers with any sense of confidence. So give me that submission prop just like you.
If Darius Flowers could give me like 3 actual rounds of just not like falling apart and gassing, like he might be okay. I just don't trust him to do that. Like, and I think Vanata, I kind of trust more to just kind of keep, keep moving forward. Even if he gets hurt, even if he's a little tired, like he'll just like dog it out. Where I've seen Flowers just too many times, just right when it gets really bad, he wants out like immediately.
You know, the one thing we didn't hit on is Vanata switched from I think he was Winklejohn, if I'm not mistaken, Albuquerque, and he's out in his own basement now. Not a good thing. Don't want that, but hey, at least he picked up the phone for the call, and he's got an opportunity.
I've already made up my mind. Stop trying to change my mind right now. Stop trying to make me bet Darius Flowers.
live betting opportunity, get in the Discord. Let's move on to the next fight where we see Alessandro Costa versus Stuart Nickel. Costa coming in as a minus 425 favorite. Comeback on Stuart Nickel, a plus 330. Do you remember Stuart Nickel coming in and we're like, we've got a Jesus Aguilar fight. We can just bet fighter X against Jesus Aguilar. And he loses as a minus 210 favorite at home. Okay, not good.
Got
Bounce back spot. Louis Ruka, smaller guy, frisky, right? He can get in and out, but like you kind of know what you can do. Stuart, let's go in there and just impose our will. They're like, all right, we're done with this guy. Alessandro Costa seems like a well-rounded fighter, a guy that is absolutely, you've seen his traps. This guy does not miss any workout, and he eats very, very well. Getting knocked out by Alden Correa, I don't know about you, but we kind of called that on here. I'm pretty sure Alden Correa being out of the hit squad.
We were on that. You were on that. You were on Correa. Yep.
Absolutely, with Josh Van. I kind of crossed that one off. I think there's more tools for Costa. I think that his fight could take place many different ways. From fantasy, I'm a little worried. I love my low weight classes, and I like it when it's a smaller slate. But, I mean, you're looking at a fight to go to decision at plus 110. They also see a potential late type of finish here, don't they?
Yeah, I like the Costa side, and I like the finishing side too for him. I think he gets this done inside the distance, maybe like a second round finish. You know, obviously Costa, he's had some ups and downs clearly in the UFC, but he's a well-rounded fighter, man. Go back and watch that Steve Erceg fight where in the second round, this dude was wrestling and grappling with Steve Erceg, and at times out wrestling and grappling Steve Erceg, which is pretty impressive because I think Steve Erceg's grappling is pretty high level. And he was getting the best of him in some of those exchanges in the second round to kind of get back in that fight. Now, we ended up losing the fight, obviously, but I thought that showed like, man, this dude is definitely high level. And now you give him someone like Stuart Nickel, who I think coming in, everyone was like prospect. And then we saw in the Jesus Aguilar fight is like, okay, maybe not. And then we saw in the next, like, okay, the Hoja fight, maybe not. So now they give him Costa, who I think is just gonna be better everywhere. I think people are giving Nickel maybe the grappling edge or the wrestling edge, but I don't know. Costa's got decent wrestling and grappling too, so I don't even know if the gap's as wide there as people think. So if I'm getting the better fighter in almost every scenario, wherever this fight goes, I'm going to take it here. So I like Costa, and I think he can find a finish, man. He throws heavy when he throws.
Oh, come on. You get it. The setup is right there. You hate my puns. He could Costa to a decision.
Oh, you just, yeah. I should have known you were going to say some bullshit like that.
I know you love it. That's why we love each other. Stuart Nickel, you know I love my buy low spots, but buddy, I don't know if you have that heart and will. I think this is a perfect case that Stuart Nickel, put him in Australia, he's going to fight better on the regionals, right? Like, I don't know if he's up to this level. Costa, definitely a guy that needs to get the win, that can get right after Alden Correa. But
this is a bump up for sure.
I would rather have this is a horrible state. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would rather bet Stuart Nickel against a guy like Ode Osborne than Alessandro Costa.
Yeah, because you know he has at least a path. Like I don't think he has a path against Costa. The more we talk about it, the more I'm agreeing with our guy Coffee in the chat here.
Coffee, you're the man. We got to get you in Discord, buddy. Like,
fired up right
energy.
now.
Keep it going.
I love the energy. Yeah,
big on brand with the coffee.
Last around. Do you think he lasts around? He might not last around.
He might not, correct. And he certainly doesn't wear the damage well. And I think adversity is not good for him, being over here in the United States and as well as the damage. You look at the over-under too, like I said there, being distance, plus 110. I don't know if I want to even bet that. Like, I would hope he could survive, but because it's a lower weight class, I don't know if he will. So, fantasy, did I even say ownership? This is probably one of those fights where we talked about lower ownership, right? We talked about if you're making that pool of 4 fights, I guarantee this is one of the lower owned fights of all of them.
Yeah.
You have Costa at 25% owned. Delano is going to be a little bit lower. I'll tell you how I'm going to handle that if you're reading in between the lines there, a little bit of what I'm saying. But Nickel being 13% and Costa being 25 is severely lower. So that's the type of fight where you're going to want a piece of that one. And then you take a stance even, right? You say, oh, I want Costa. That's going to get you up on the field compared to targeting these higher owned fights. Potentially even like the main event. I think that'll be interesting to talk about in a little bit. But we talk about that guy right around Costa. That is 20% owned. Jose Delano versus Robert Ruscala. 20% owned on fantasy. Delano comes in at minus 270 favorite. Comeback on Ruscala, a plus 220. Were you reading in between the line a little bit? If Ruscala can handle the power, this thing is a lot closer. I mean, plus 220. He's not great. I'm not saying this is the best prospect, but I think durability, Delano goes. He's got a button. He's just go. He's this Brazilian. He's got to have success in that fight to get the confidence. I see you nodding your head. It makes me happy. Ruscala going to be a guy, again, 20%, not good. That's a low-owned fight. This is a fight you buy into. I think I buy into more than the previous fight. 40% owned combined. That's when you add that into it. Tools. Ruscala, takedowns. Sneaky, that first fight. What did he end up scoring? I have to pull it up in a second, but 2 takedowns against Willie Gomez, 34 strikes.
35 fantasy points and
That's
35.9 in a loss.
4.5 minutes of control time. This is a very high scoring potential. I would argue the same as everyone's favorite Estabbomb, who I will have take against later. But are we both cooking on Ruscala? The problem is he has to survive. He has been knocked out before. He does have good durability. It's a weird thing to put those in the same sentence, but like overall, he's got good durability and he should be able to survive. I just know that Delano does hit like a damn truck when he does sit down.
To be fair, too, he was knocked out, but the dude he won, that was, I think, a 5-round fight. And the dude he got or lost to is 22-2. So he's not like some bum. And I watched that fight back, and he was a pretty good fighter. I'm blanking on his name right now, but I did watch that fight because I was like, let me just see his loss where I think he got finished in that one that you're talking about here. So yeah. I still put Robert as a pretty durable guy. He does wear damage, which sucks. And against someone like Jose Delano, first of all, Delano is not just going to like sit back and counter. Like William Gomez, he wants to sit back and kind of counter. He wants to go in and out, right, Mike? He's not like the most he's not like the biggest like volume striker at times. He'll be patient and stuff. Jose Delano's a little different, and his striking in boxing is pretty friggin' elite here. He's going to move forward. He's definitely going to touch Robert a little bit. I think the volume's on Jose's side. I think Robert's going to want to try and make this a kind of just like a sloppy, dirty fight. Get him up against the cage, kind of grind him out a little bit. Because the more technical this fight is, the more it's going to lean Jose's side for sure. But I do think the line could be a little wide to where I see what you're saying, because if Robert can get some takedowns, this fight could end up being a little closer than what this line entails. I do think, though, from like a pick side, I think Jose is going to end up winning this fight just with his volume. And I think he's going to hurt Robert because Robert is somewhat hittable. I think someone like Jose is going to be able to do that, but that doesn't mean Robert can't have some success in the wrestling, get him down a little bit and have a little success there. So I think it's a closer fight than the line may say.
Well, let's just say, how is this fight under-owned? Do they think it stalls out from grappling?
Well, I think Robert could stall this fight with wrestling and grappling.
So then it makes him a stronger play.
Well, I think it does. I think you can make the case that this is a dog or pass fight. And for me personally, I don't know how you rank the 9Ks. We can do that at the end, but I have Costa ahead of Delano. So Delano's going to
that's
become
a bold take, I think, from a overall standpoint, but
well, yeah, because I think Delano's going to be higher owned than Costa.
Yeah. What do you think about the volume from Delano? That, like, if he was on Contender Series DFS, 146 strikes is
yeah. What do you have, 149 or whatever? In the Dana White's Contender Series fight.
Yeah, which honestly,
that dude was, and honestly, it could be a very similar fight to that fight because that dude was tough. I remember Dana saying that the matchmakers actually liked the dude who lost to Delano and said if anybody falls out, we might give him a shot too because the matchmakers liked him just because he was tough. He was a 7-1 underdog against Delano or something like that, and he fought his ass off. He just wasn't good enough at the end. Delano was just more skilled, but
I want to get behind your take about having Costa over him, but it's an ownership. How can you play? Delano's 20% owned. I mean, I feel like Costa might be even lower than
I think Costa's going to be like 15%.
I agree with that. I think my system having him 25% is probably because it favors flyweight fights, right? More action.
That makes sense.
But that's just how my system typically does for ownership wise and trying to cut the pie up a little bit. So I think we both uncover a potential dog play and potentially a low owned upside fight on this slate. Let's move on to even more ugliness. It's amazing. We go ugly UFC all up and down, but I think it's a Thomas the Tank Engine Peterson as favorite.
Thomas
after
the
getting
Tank.
knocked out. Man, after getting knocked out, we're going to put a favorite tag on a -115 on DraftKings Sportsbook at this stage. Come back on Guillermo Pat, -105. Please, don't let me break this down. Don't. It's like Pat coming into the UFC against Fry. Have you seen that fight that Fry was booked in, by the way? That thing is cursed. It had about like 6 people. He got booked after this loss to Pat, and he got pulled out. And then that bum that lost to who's our boy that's moving up, Hokit. Remember the guy got smoked? It was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
Max Jimenez or Jimenez?
Yeah, dude, he pulls out. That fight is cursed.
I remember
put these guys in there in the ranking of like, oh God, how do you break this thing down? I mean, is it Guillermo just out voluming on the feet, and then you got Peterson maybe trying to close distance and go for takedowns? Like, it seems like Peterson's gonna have to try to go for takedowns, and you look at the total, it's like they just think it's pure sloppiness. It's actually a 2.5. They hung a 2.5 on this with the under -120. They said, flip a coin.
Yeah. Pat out voluming someone is going to be interesting here, unless he's dramatically improved in his takedown defense against the fence and his conditioning overall. The cardio is just not there. The Fry fight, I mean, that fight should have finished so many different times because Pat, when he throws heavy, he's fast. The combos look really good, Mike. But like every time he would hurt Fry, he just refused to go for the kill. It was crazy. Like I remember, I don't even know what happened. Like Fry's head like snapped back crazy. Like we don't see fighters' head snap back like that. And Pat like went in to try and finish him. And I don't know, like he got hit with something or they bumped heads or I don't know, but ended up Pat falling back. This was at the end of the first round and Fry was just on top of him to finish the first round. But it was just a weird sequence. And it's like, this guy he's only got 6 fights, I think, on his record. So it's not like he has a ton of, fights under his belt. I don't think Thomas is very good. He's going to need takedowns because in a strictly striking match, he's going to get worked by Pat. If Pat is just even a little better, a little cleaner, a little better conditioned, I think he wins if this fight stays on the feet, and I think he finds a knockout if this fight stays on the feet. So the question is more to me, can Thomas get the takedowns? If he can get the takedowns, can he control them?
Well, that's the whole thing. What if he gets reversed?
I don't know if he's getting reversed. I don't know if Pat's that skilled. But I do think he could get a bunch of takedowns. Like Thomas is live for a bunch of takedowns. I just think at some point they're going to be in a striking exchange as Thomas is trying to like catch his breath, and Pat's going to catch him with something big. Probably put him out.
How do you handle this thing in fantasy? Because like this could be
I'm splitting the ownership of them. That's how I am for fantasy. I'm like 30-ish% on both.
And let's take a peek at what it's projected at. That's what it comes down to. Pack being 25% and Peterson end up being, well, he's going to be a value play on this slate, right? He's going to inherently have more ownership. He'll probably come in closer to 33%. And with that total being 2.5 in a heavyweight fight, they're like, this king could just be ugly where they just are so tired at the end. I actually like the late finish.
Take this, Mike. So if you do, let's just do a quick here.
So are you trying to do the reverse correlation thing? To make this,
so
I love it. I love it.
If you do Peterson for 2 takedowns and then just by KO, I think you can get like plus 370 on DraftKings.
It's been a secret for me for a long time.
So you can get both sides by KO too. You don't have
nerfed it, by the way, years ago. Fun fact, I'll tell you who it was. Sergey Spivak versus Derek Lewis, I think. Whoever. Let's just say a guy who was just a striker. And it was, I had Spivak takedown, Spivak knockout, Spivak most significant strikes. Thing was like 150-1. The system got nerfed since then.
Plus 370.
Yeah, see? So it's still a big number.
Thomas Peterson for 2 takedowns and just the exact method by KO. So you can have both fighters by KO. I think that's a fun little parlay right there. Plus 370. I just sprinkled $100 on it.
Oh, that's too bad. That's I think you could do worse because it is so ugly that by the end of this thing, if they're both tired, look at Peterson last fight. I really think that was telling, don't you? Like, he could have won the damn fight. And in the 3rd round, he just like couldn't bite down. He just in the middle and he's just hittable and bang out cold. So I could definitely see that outcome.
I will say though, Peterson's like open mat takedowns aren't bad. So that's where Pat's going to struggle. Like Fry didn't have actual takedowns. All Fry was doing was just like moving forward and then just getting into pretty much a hug fest against the cage. And he couldn't figure out how to like trip him or find a takedown from that position because he's not good. Thomas Peterson's actually going to shoot real takedowns on Pat. So Pat's is going to have to worry about like actual like the takedown he shot against Gaziev before Gaziev knocked him out cold with 1 punch. Like that was a pretty legit takedown that got Gaziev. Now Shamil got up like pretty fast, but if he's shooting those type of takedowns against Pat might be in trouble. It's just how long can he shoot those takedowns for? Can he do that for all 3 rounds? Probably not.
No, I think we know not anymore. And that's why the knockout presents itself late, which I like. Correct. That plus 370. Very interesting, very fun bet. Knockouts potentially for a setup fight in Tommy McMillan versus Manolo Zucchini. I'm calling him Zucchini. Sue me if it's his wrong name. Minus 800. What?
I said that's his name. Manolo Zucchini, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. McMillan, minus 800. That is Sugar Sean's boy in his camp. Everyone loves him. Fluffy hair, wild style, cocky, brash. Everybody loves him. Zucchini plus 550. How is he on the roster? I think everyone this fight got booked are like, this is the guy that got enhancement talent for Morgan Charrier to shine at home. And they said, all right, he's on the roster. Why was he wearing wings on the weigh-ins? Almost is ironic because Tommy could send him up to the Angels. Like maybe he's already knows what's happening, like foreshadowing, because Tommy's should be faster everywhere, better everywhere. But this is a guy that is a submission based. Isn't it funny how you just have this? Oh, he's fighting with Sugar. He's going to be the knockout artist, right? But you look at this guy's record; it's up and down. It's submissions. Can we get plus money somehow on this fight? How do we get this minus 800 to plus money?
I mean, you could definitely get it to plus money. I mean, all you got to do is like bet an under 1.5 with the submission or something. I'm sure that'll get you plus money if you want to go that. I think what's the under, like minus 130 or
yes,
plus,
1.5 minus 130.
Yeah, so you could easily get the under on this fight if you wanted to do something like that here. I would be careful though, because Tommy might have fallen in love with just being that dog and throwing. You know what I mean? So I'd be careful. And I'd also be careful with this fight here. This line, by the way, the line has moved to much more respectable. I mean, Tommy McMillan was like minus 1,100 at one point. Manalo was plus 800 earlier in the week. And I bet Manalo. I bet him also by KO at 16 to 1 on DraftKings. It's down to 12 to 1. Those numbers are just wild. I mean, for someone like Tommy McMillan to be a minus 1,100 favorite is kind of insane. And he did fight someone who was pretty good in the Contender Series. He was a slight dog. He ends up winning that fight, but he's super hittable. You know what I mean? So is he the better overall fighter? Yeah, probably. Does he have a massive edge in the grappling? Yes, he does. If he gets this to a grappling fight, he's going to win for sure. But if this fight stays standing, I think the line should be a lot closer, because I think in the striking, Manelo and Tommy are pretty close to me anyways, Mike. So that's the question. I'll take a shot on the, I mean, now he's plus 550, but I still think the line is just a little bit wide, dog. And I know people won't like it, and that's fine. No, you don't have to tail it or whatever, because, you know, I've missed on these before. I've also hit on them before. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. But I think the line is just wide. I think it's crazy. I think no one like Tommy, who's that hittable, should be minus 1,000 or minus 800. Like, this line should be like minus 400.
Agree.
Maybe.
However,
you don't agree. You like Tommy. You want to bet Tommy. Bet the house on Tommy.
How do I bet Tommy? You know, I have to take by knockout at plus 250 on DraftKings. Like, I can't take submission at minus 120.
That's how I would bet Tommy.
100%. It's like you can't take the minus. Dude, he's a minus 7.5 on the spread at like minus 4.
They're giving you 240 for KO. And if you watched his last fight, dude, at a certain point in that fight, he's like, all right, let's just go. Let's just slug it out here.
Do you know how many takedowns he got shot on from David Magoyan? Do you know how many?
David Magoyan's an Armin boy. So yeah, Magoyan's a wrestler at heart.
He shot 12 times in that fight.
Yeah.
And only got 2 of them. And what was that? A minute of control time?
He's skilled.
You know what card he's on? He's booked for the MVP card, baby.
Is he really?
Darren, you didn't know that. Against, if I'm not mistaken, without looking, Albert Morales. Remember Albert Morales from, he was Uriah's boy, if you remember, coming in the UFC. Albert Morales versus David Mgoyan. I'd like to bring a little smile to your face. Yeah, at least he's getting a big paycheck over there.
I'm not gonna lie. I had Mgoyan in that Contender Series fight. I really thought he was gonna win. I did not love the finish to that fight, but Tommy was, you know, I mean, he was a fucking dog at the end. Bakoyf hit him with some shit. I think dropped him like 3 or 4 times in the first like round and a half, right, Mike? Like the first round and a half. He legitimately dropped Tommy like 3 or 4 times, and Tommy just wouldn't go away. He just kept friggin' going. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying not to be too biased with that because I do think McGoyan is a good fighter, but I also just can't get out how hittable Tommy was against a wrestler. Because that's what McGoyan is. He's a wrestler.
Yes, Zucchini here is going to be coming in at 4%, just like Rivero, who we'll talk about in a little bit. I'd rather wait to break down how they handle these guys a little bit later when we get to Yaki in a fight or two, because it's so price prohibitive. I think you want to break it down if you're on quotations, right? Like value, right? Being on Zucchini, you're probably going to be lower on him anyways. But on this slate, fading these two big boys is going to be scary.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tommy is the one that's a little bit more you're opt to do it, especially with the money movement against him. So before we get to more, we're already past halfway.
I will say too, it'll be a great clip one way or the other. You can clip it and make fun of me at the end of it, or you can clip it and we can all be happy at the end of it. But
you think Zucchini even knocks him down? Because you could probably just straight up hit that. That's probably a big price tag for him by one knockdown, just for the record.
Oh, what, to get a knockdown?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Even on the fight.
What do you think? What do you think it is, Mike? I should bet
without me looking, plus 350 minimum, plus 350. I haven't looked.
What's that on the props part?
It would be fight props, yeah. And also it might even have like how many knockdowns period.
You're right. That's a way better bet.
I'm just trying to help you. Around fight props.
Yeah, you don't like my bet, so you're trying to find a better bet. I see what you're doing. I appreciate it though.
There's no fighter prop prep for it. You'd probably have to do a SGP for it.
Yeah,
and you could probably cover knockdowns in that, by the way, just for the record.
So
which you and I are cooking.
I don't see it in the fighter props in that.
Come on, DraftKings, give me a little love.
Maybe they'll add it.
Even other books I was poking around on, for the two big boys, the Tommy McMillan and the Yaki.
That'd be a sick, like, if you could bet like Tommy to get Manello to knock down Tommy, but then you bet like Tommy by KO. That would be like a fun, like,
it'd be like plus 120, like 125 to 1. Like,
it'd be crazy odds.
But yeah, we're getting crazy here.
They don't want that smoke. Come on, DraftKings.
Nobody does. Like I said, I went everywhere to all the sports books to try to dissect McMillan and Yaki to get better price tags, and I couldn't find the markets are very limited on those two fights. But before we're way past the halfway point. We're getting to the last four fights here. Tell me about Run Pure Sports, what we have going on. End of March Madness here. You know what's funny? NHL is about to wind down into playoffs, and NBA's right there winding down. I'm looking at all these future bets I placed, and I'm like, we're gonna have some money in our accounts for some futures from those two sports.
Yeah, we still got a ton of stuff. I mean, NBA playoffs, we always crush NBA playoffs. Me and Tony will be doing shows on the regular for NBA playoffs on this channel. So yeah, if you're into that, we'll have the NBA shows back for the playoffs for sure. And baseball's been absolutely awesome. DC, Stevie Boy and JBC, Big T, myself, Third and Schlong, all these guys doing baseball content. Absolutely crushing the first week and a half, whatever it's been. And then all the, the niche sports, all the, the MMA, of course, NASCAR's been crushing, and college basketball. It's not over yet. We got Stevie Boynton, Gavin, I think, Fear My Turtle, and I might be blanking on someone else. They're going to be doing a live show right after our show at around 1 p.m. Eastern time for the Final Four, which they've been crushing for the DFS and the sports betting on DraftKings. So check that show out after this one. It's going to be on this channel, so make sure you guys are stay tuned for that one. It's going to be a good show, and obviously we're all going to be betting the Final Four, so check that one out. Those guys have literally followed college basketball the whole year, which you can't find many people that are doing DFS and sports betting that actually watch college football from start, or college basketball from start to finish. And all of those guys do. So make sure you check that show out.
I was going to say, they probably do for college football anyways as well. Because there's a niche sports, which
What's
we matter.
what's
Are we
NHL?
still at
What's NHL?
NHL? I don't. There's fighting in NHL. That's why I like it. I have who has the most fights. Kidding. I think they give you those little boosts preseason. They're like give a rookie boost, right? Demidov most points. He's up by 2 right now.
You just found it off, and you just said, "I want that guy."
Yeah, give me the favorite, whatever. Give me a plus whatever boost plus 100. We're firing on futures. Don't worry. But that means more money for futures and UFC betting, essentially, right? All of our stuff at our Run Pure Sports comes together because we want to make those bankrolls grow, grow, grow. Who made your bankroll grow last time he fought? If I'm not mistaken, you were doing the same thing. Ewing, right? You kind of tried to get people towards him a little bit, or at least said Wellmaker minus a gajillion shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, I just said the line was way too wide. Yeah.
But that's smart. You have to. Sometimes like Yaki, I can't imagine you're going to give me much resistance against that line. But Ethan Ewing now coming in as the favorite. He's like, all right, I stole your thunder. Now I'm minus 135 against Rafael Estabbomb.
So do we think this is an overreaction to the Ethan Ewing? Do we think the line is still saying we think Malcolm Wellmaker is really good, so Ethan Ewing must just also be really good or better? So because we know Estabbomb is good and he's moving up in weight, right, Mike? So this is he's moving up in weight, right, from the last time he fought?
He just always misses weight, from what I remember.
Well, that's true.
I'll check it. I mean, it doesn't matter. He could be in heavyweight and he's trying to fight at super heavyweight.
I mean, he can never
he's a weight bully. Who gives a shit if you're losing 20% of your purse?
Well, because of his style, though. His style is about, like, think about it. If you're someone like him with your heavy wrestling and grappling style, like, you want that. So it makes sense to me. But he's got the best, like, from like a DFS standpoint, like his style can score points. So as a dog, it makes sense to me why he's going to be very popular. We have him at 30%, but me and you both think it's going to be higher than that. I think it's going to be 40s. This guy scored in decision wins 106, 116, and 72 in his 3 fights. 9 minutes or more of control time in his 3 fights. That's pretty wild. That's crazy. So 2/3 of the fight, pretty much, he is controlling the fighter on the ground, pretty much for most of that. So that's insane. You're gonna see takedown volume. I think that's his clear path. But the question is, can Ewing make him work? Can Ewing get up?
Is that a pun? Did I get you finally? Can Ethan make him work? Is that because, remember that picture that went viral on the construction site when he had his little lunchbox?
Oh,
you just did it. You did.
I did it without even thinking about it, though.
I did it. I've done it, boys.
I did it without even thinking about it. All right, I hate that. But either way, I think that, first of all, the takedown ladder that someone's talking about in chat for Estabbomb is live, because I think Ewing's going to get up. Like the takedown ladder's not as good if he's going to get stuck on his back for a whole round. I think he's going to make Estabbomb work. And it's all going to come down to, does Estabbomb tire out from this heavy wrestling style? Because if he tires out, I think Ewing could be live for a late finish.
I've got my Mr. Burns hands out.
Why?
Estabbomb is a weight bully. He's always missing weight. He's got the takedown, so he can do it. What happens when you shoot a takedown? Your head's got to be in a good space. Why not Ethan Ewing submission? Crazy number. Why not? Why the fuck not? Why not? I've been trying to dissect a lot of these grapplers that are strictly grappling. I'm not calling it by any stretch, but you play the number, I play the number. You're gonna look at him by submission. It's going to be a crazy number for Ewing because I don't think he gets submissions much, and absolutely Estabomb's never been finished. If you look at the line on DraftKings Sportsbook, it's plus 650. It's moved from plus 700, so it's not me. I certainly didn't move the line, but I'm sorry. Ewing by submission plus 1800. it's going to be there to be had if he's sloppy on a takedown, and he's a dog. He's going to fight for your money. You kind of played into my boat. I like huge numbers. I think Ewing's better everywhere when it comes on the feet. I tried to trap you by thinking on the mat. It's a tricky fight. It's super tricky because it's binary with Estabbomb getting control time, getting those takedowns, rinse, repeat. How many times have we seen fights where like the winner be the guy who outstruck but was taken down 10 times?
Definitely.
And it's like, and there's a world where Ewing scores like 45 points in a win because
this
more
got
damage.
Split written all over it. Where like
absolutely.
Where like Ewing gets I don't even.
I know you probably hate my call. I know you probably hate my call on a potential submission, but at plus 1800 with a guy that's going to be shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, the head's right there.
I just think Estabomb's jiu-jitsu is really good. So I don't know if he's gonna get subbed, but who knows though? He could tire out to where.
Correct. So I'm looking like second, third round potentially, just to give full clarity as to where it would happen. And I'm not greedy. I'm not going to say submission in the second or third, because that would be like, get me 3 houses for the price of a soda. Yeah, I think it's a tough one. How do you look at it for fantasy? Because there's just so much ownership for there's no way he comes in at the 30 that I have him projected. It's got to be higher. It's got to be closer to the Hope. I personally think Hope will be lower owned than Estabbomb, even though
he will be, but he's still going to be high. And it's just Estabbomb is going to be everyone's first click when they're building lineups outside of Vanata MOICANO in that range. So it's going to be MOICANO and then Estabbomb kind of in that low 7s range. But the takedown upside, I mean, nobody has that type of takedown upside. I think Hope has takedown upside. I just don't know if he's got like double-digit takedown upside. I don't know if he has that in him. Estabbomb definitely has that in him. And I believe Ewing's going to force him to take him down 6, 8, 10 times. Like, I think it's going to be one of those fights where that he's not doing a ton with the takedowns, but he's like constantly all over him, just trying to get him back down. The plus 225 by decision for Estabbomb does seem pretty sweet to me, Mike.
There's a lot of outcomes in this fight, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think that makes it juicy. The problem is Ewing's going to have the adversity against him. And at 20%, you almost wish that he was like 10% owned, don't you? For his price tag. Like,
yeah, I can't play Ewing. This is dog or pass in DFS.
I know, and I don't think a lot of people
can
play
bet Ewing at like a round 2 or round 3 finish. I think that's a good bet. Like betting a round 3 finish. That's what I would do with Ewing if I liked Ewing. I bet
he just has heart. I think you can't teach that heart. And I think it's caked in, even though you and I both know he's going to be the favorite because everybody loves him. He beat the big favorite.
But if you're going to bet Ewing, wait until after the first round. He's going to be plus money after this first round. Either that or Estabbomb is just getting worked. But I don't think that happens in the first round. So I think Estabbomb wins round 1. You can bet Ewing as a live dog at that point. Hope Estabbomb gasses out, and then Ewing puts it on him at the end of the second or the third round.
We'll talk about a grappler later on that does not throw strikes. I'm trying to remember. Does Estabbomb, his strike totals, 33, 11, 18, Contender Series knockout. So move fighter, 48.
Dude. He literally doesn't throw.
Well, there's a fighter that throws even less later on, and she's incredible. And she's winning fights at the highest level. But Ewing, I mean, should potentially like triple his strikes if there's any bit of striking on the feet. So definitely it's an interesting, it's probably the most interesting fight, right, on the slate from stylistically, where it's like, if he can negate some of these takedowns, it's going to be interesting. And if he doesn't, oh my God, the ceiling is just incredible for Estabbomb. I just don't want this fight to make or break the slate. I don't want it, and I know it will.
I think it's going to, and I think it's going to be, like, honestly, like, I should, because you really should just, if you think Estabomb's getting takedowns, he's gonna put up a lot of points. He's just going to.
Are you hitting the ladder?
I think I'm going. Yeah, because like I said, I think Ewing has the ability to force him to take him down a bunch of times.
I love how they want the action on this stuff now, right? Like,
yeah,
typically they have that little slider bar, right? Now they have on this particular fight, it starts at over 2.5 at minus 175 for Estabbomb. Then it goes 4 plus 110, 5 215, 6 400, 7 600. Tell me they're not just keeping that close to the chest. Like they're like, we don't want to get burned by this. They're getting smart.
Yeah, no, it's sharp. Sharp.
Very, 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 very sharp. Love that fight. Love it. Let's go move on to the biggest favorite on the slate. Abdul Rahman Yaki, one of the best Contender Series guys we saw last year versus Brenson Rivero. Mr. Yaki coming in as a minus 1350 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Comeback on Rivero, a plus 180. I guess the point of resistance finally came when he was at 11-1 underdog for Rivero, because now he's down to plus 800. I guess we can have many different outcomes. We saw Yaki last time against Sakara, who's enhancement talent, go in there, get the quick. Was it a quick win? It was pretty close. If it wasn't, I don't have that tab open.
I mean, he could have won anyway. Why? I mean, he dropped them pretty fast.
Yeah. So, this is the rare case you have an over-under at 1.5, minus 475 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Like, that's tight. I'm surprised. That would be the fighter that first has a 1 total. There might ever be a 1. It might be here with him later on. I look at it just as plays, right? Like, how do you break it down from a betting? I guess, I don't know, unders. Is this the Terrence McKinney?
I mean, or just bet like, Yaki, if you think he finishes them by KO. I think you can get on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can get under 1.5 Yaki money line and KO, and you can get it to plus 100 with the same game parlay. So, or you're betting the submission. I think it's one or the other. But that's what I did. I bet that same game parlay. So it's under 1.5 money line and by KO, you get the just plus 100, which I thought was pretty solid on DraftKings. But I don't know, like, I already have a few dogs on this card. I don't think I'm going to play Rivero, obviously. I'm going to be super heavy on Yaki. I think most people will, but I think it's kind of warranted. This dude he's really good, and he's talented kind of everywhere this fight goes. I mean, he can wrestle, he can strike, he can grapple.
Who was the one we had a few weeks ago as a massive favorite? It's the same type of situation, honestly. Contra Dovicius versus Tricoli.
Oh my God. He should have had that dude out so many times.
But that's what I'm saying. For scoring purposes, it's like this shit can blow up in your face. Arguably, he bust because he didn't finish him. I forget if because he got stalled out in the first round, right? Like there wasn't a ton to be had from fantasy. But then he got a little bit of takedown late in the fight. So it's like you're playing with a double-edged sword when you play these minus 1,500, minus 1,000, let's just call them, right? The money, I think he's going to be the highest owned guy on the slate. Could you argue one of the main event pieces might be around him?
I mean, it would be him or Moicano, I think.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think it's warranted.
I think you're sacrificing a little too much on this slate if you're going up there. It just feels like, have we ever had a dynamic where we've had two strong plays, 98, 99, and almost $400, $300 higher than the next 9K guy? I don't necessarily think we have. We had that slate that I told you a second about Controvicious that had the 3 big dogs, but they were kind of in line with each other. There was no gap.
Yeah, no, this one's a gap, but I also feel like there is a gap between the two. So I guess I'm a little different than you. But so you're going to be under on Yakiev.
Well, how are you going to play Yakiev? Yeah, I am going to be under it, and it's just strictly because he's got to be exact. His probability of getting a quick win is strong, but you've got quick win or a deep first round finish. I feel like those are the two distinct ways.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about how I play him because I know that I'm on some unique dogs, so it's not going to really matter how I play him.
Yeah.
So I can play him on every team. It doesn't, I don't think about it that way because I'm going to
be even crazier
lineups.
Can you imagine how little lineups will be in the big GPP that have a Yakiev McMillan? That's just how my crazy brain works, right? Like that combo is going to be so freaking low. It requires you to do the old 4-2. You almost have to do 4 dogs and 2 for the favorites. I think that's a.
So you're saying double spend up with the two.
But there's so many strong dogs on this slate. I had to make the point. You could potentially do 9-9, 9-8 and get 4 dogs that have legit 95-point upside. So
I think that's valid.
If there's any slate to do that, it's this slate. I don't think there's other slates we've ever had that you could legitimately do that. And would you be surprised if that lineup won? I wouldn't be surprised.
No, nope, I think there's dogs that could easily make that lineup work.
Yeah. So, what are you breaking up? Are you just like me on it when it comes to inside the distance? You're trying to get whatever the opposite is, KO versus sub, right? Like if you give me plus money on either of the other two, like he's expected to get.
I already said what I'm doing. I already said what I'm doing. I'm betting the under 1.5, the money line, and the KO at plus 100.
You're not even overthinking it. You're just saying this guy's getting cooked on the feet, get cooked on the mat by ground and pound. It's over.
Yep.
Like it. We move on to the value play of the slate. Jesus.
I'll be right back.
No problem. We have a value plate on the slate. Virna Jadoba versus Tabitha Reichi. Very tricky fight from a fantasy standpoint. We have a minus 135 for Jadoba, and that she is a legit value now on this slate versus Reichi's plus 114. You look at these two commodities, it is so difficult to get to Reichi in almost any format when she's fighting because it's just lower volume, goes to a decision. She does have finish equity against certain ladies, but now she's going against Jadoba, who has her beat on the mat, who has her probably stalling out scoring from a fantasy standpoint. On the feet, Reichi's got to dart in and out. Jadoba very stiff on the feet. Does not throw a lot of strikes. I alluded to it earlier that Jadoba is just it does not throw. She doesn't have a high ceiling when it comes to pure decision work because there's not that ground and pound that compiles the scoring for you that you need to have. But now she's going to be a value and she's going to be owned. She's got earlier in the week, she was like plus 300 inside the distance. I saw it looks like Jadoba is now inside the distance at a price tag of plus 400 compared to Reichi plus 1100. That line is getting a little out of hand for Reichi, but I still don't think you're going to have to touch that. Nobody's going to want to play Reichi. It's damn sure now. She's going to be competing with the ownership of those 2 dogs we talked about, the Zucchini and Riveros, basically 5% owned for each of those fighters. Jadoba, 27% owned. She's in the mixed bag of all these 30% owned fighters, right, that have upside. And I think she's going to garner more ownership. How many times do we see these little fractionals money line values, right? Now she's a favorite. Obviously, from a fantasy standpoint, you can't play Reichi, I don't think. Unless you think she dominates on the feet, replicates what was the fight? She got that clinch finish there against Ribas. Arguably, she'd be okay in that, but God, good golly. I have a future on Reichi to be. If she gets past Jadoba, my ticket is in golden hands, but Virna, she's got one game plan. Get you down to the mat.
And she's good. And she's good at it too. She's good at it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not a Virna. I'm not a Virna guy. I don't bet her very often. I do think she wins this fight though. And I again, like I said, I'm not usually on Verna, but honestly, she looked better than I thought she was going to against Dern, even though she obviously lost that fight. I think that was clear to me, anyways. She still looked a lot better, and I think against Reichi, I just don't think Reichi is going to be able to stop Verna's game plan. I just don't see it. So I think Verna comes forward. I think she's going to get some takedowns. I think she's going to be able to control her a little bit, and I think it's going to win out in 3 rounds. So yeah, I mean, I'm on the Verna side as a bet. I already bet her, and for DFS too, I think she's got the upside. What?
You had to have gotten plus money on Verna.
I did not get her at plus money.
No. It was all week. She was kind of holding, and then just towards the end here, it just crashed down. I mean, plus 120.
I think the best I saw was like minus 120 or something.
Yeah. The sad part with Verna, she just has to win 2 rounds. It's sad to say that, but like, she survives. She can survive, but she just needs to win the 2 rounds, as in she doesn't really overthink her game plan. Get the body lock, get it to the clinch. Richie's more apt to go to the clinch too, which isn't going to be good here. Yeah. I mean, don't you see body lock takedown all day long? Even though the problem is Richie's kind of like a little bit of a short tank. So like, I worry if the takedowns don't exist, she could in and out volume Verna, and it could just be even more ugly than it's going to be. But both of these ladies have like 75% takedown. I mean, defense. That's the thing. They're literally 74% takedown defense, Verna, 78% for Reichi. But has Reichi really faced this style? I don't think so. When you start going down, you have Rebus, nope. Yan Zanan, absolutely not going in with takedowns. Angela Hill, no. Tisha, striker. Loopy, maybe mixing in, right? Mix it in, but make it so she dips down and she's able to get
like this one-sided. Not
Robertson?
Like this.
Right? Robertson,
though, the grappling is elite, but getting it there is not as good as Verna.
Yeah. So I just don't think she's ever faced it. So I agree, Verna. Even though I got the future on Reichi.
I love how we both sigh as we take Verna here. And she's the only DFS play like I can take. I can't take Reichi.
Isaac's back in chat. Thank you, Isaac. I love
Reichi
you.
could give me a Reichi. There you go. That's a good one right there.
Yeah, I gotta try to keep it safe there. This is King Callum.
Say, someone did post it earlier. Reichi did look kind of fire in one of her recent post vids or whatever. So
oh yeah, I mean, it's King Callum. Callum Walsh. That's his girl, man. I'm not messing with that. He's a future champ, and Dana has invested a lot of money in him.
Congrats, Walsh.
Yes, sir. And potentially another live betting. I'm trying to draw something up from this. We're both sighing and saying Verna, and potentially Verna being not necessarily the best play from fantasy, because I just don't think she's got that. She's not. She might not even get 20 strikes if she gets takedowns, dude.
She might not.
So.
And Nate asked, this one here, why is Dakota Hope ownership high at 7,500? Because he has inside the distance line that's way better than the dude he's facing, and better than a lot of dogs. And then on top of it, he's got the takedown upside, which scores well on DraftKings. So that's why he's
get in our Discord. We'd love to see you.
Benair, you said it, not me. Go for it, buddy. That's all you, my friend. Gladly give it up for you, my friend.
Fun fact. We love our hats here on Run Pure Sports. Verna does wear that hat to the octagon, if you remember. Didn't even think of it until right then and there. We move on to a non-hat fight, the main event of the evening. Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan coming in as a favorite at minus 142. Come back on Money Moicano, a plus 120 on DraftKings. Fun fight. Money Moicano in it for the money for damn sure. Potentially in to put over a newcomer. I don't look at Chris Duncan as a newcomer, but more of like up-and-coming talent, right? Chris Duncan ripping off a ton of really good-looking wins. Balaji Oki, Vucenic, we'll cross that one off. Rebecca, yes. Terrence McKinney, absolutely. Very hittable. Chris Duncan is very, very hittable. I worry about chin for him. Moicano, I worry about durability. Do you not? I mean, you kind of have to. I feel like the deeper the fight goes, he can be a little soft to the body. The Rafael Dos Anjos fight, like, you go back to that one and you look at it and you're like, man, you got a lifetime beating in that fight. And he's hung in there on some spots, but what type of violence do we see? Is there an ability where one's just going to dominate and the other one takes over late? I think Chris Duncan could come in with a little bit of a more, hey, this is my first opportunity. I hope he doesn't. I hope he just goes balls to the wall, because that'll be fun. But if he comes in with, I'm a disciplined fighter, I've got the good fight camp behind me, American Top Team, both American Top Team guys, by the way. Guess who Mike Brown's in the corner of?
Is he in the corner of Chris Brown? I'm sorry.
Yes, Chris Brown.
Duncan?
Yeah,
Chris Brown.
Duncan. He is.
Yeah.
He is. So he knows the A side. And Mike Brown's always in the corner of the A side. He's going there. Moicano got his own camp, probably the Brazilian guys there. The interesting fight. For context, the slate -110 inside the distance for Duncan. People are going to want to go there. You talk about the highest owned. I do have Moicano at just a sliver above Yaki IF for ownership. And I have 36% for Duncan. A lot of ownership here. He's 85% ownership, and this is a strong slate.
It should be. And you were saying before, like, does Duncan come in with a different game plan? And I don't see why he would. But this game plan got him here. This game plan got him this fight. Why do you think the UFC is putting him in this spot here at the top of a card and stuff? It's because of his style. He is the type of fighter that they want. They want guys that are going to go out one way or another. Someone's going out on the shield, right? Right, Mike? Like, he is not going to stop. He's going to keep moving forward until he gets put out or put to sleep, or he puts someone out or puts them to sleep. And that's, the UFC giving him this kind of step up here because of that. So no, I don't think he's going to change his game plan. I think it's just his style. And I think it's just kind of wired, by the way. I think he's going to struggle to I think he would struggle to even try and change the game plan, and he wouldn't be as good if he did anyways. So, that's just my take there. But when I looked at this fight earlier in the week, I couldn't believe Chris Duncan was -190 earlier in the week. When I looked at this fight, I said, this is crazy. I'm betting Moicano 100%. -190 for Chris Duncan, who just that's insane. And I know these guys are training partners. They know each other well. So in my head, I'm like, that makes this fight even closer. So whoever I can get at dog money, and I do think Moicano is the slightly better fighter. Now, the slightly better fighter doesn't always win, especially in these dog fights, which Chris Duncan seems to always get himself in. And I can make the case that Chris Duncan's been in a ton of fights where he wasn't the better fighter and still found a way to win. So it happens all the time. But this line was egregious. It's corrected. Now it's, I think Moicano's +114 on DraftKings. Every single time I've opened up my phone since Wednesday, I feel like this line is moved. 10 to 15 cents, Mike. Every single time I've opened up my phone and pulled up DraftKings. So
I'm going to tell you why.
It makes sense to me. I mean, it makes sense. People are finally smartening up that Chris Duncan shouldn't be -190.
I got a conspiracy. It's our boy we were talking about earlier, Matty Betts. He's got a podcast. He's got a fan base. He's got a lot of people that want to get behind it. This is that spot where, what was the first or second apex of the year where all the money came down on the dog? They ended up being shit and got still murdered in the second round. This screams some type of tout giving all of the, Moicano's in great shape. This is finally the spot to me. And I've been waiting all year to say it, to be fair. Do you know which fight I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember. It was Mario Batista and Vinicius. Remember? All the money came down on Vinicius later in the week. And then what happened?
Oh, yes. I do remember this.
Same exact situation.
I do remember this. I did. That
Same.
was the most insane. That was even more insane though, because Vinicius wasn't better anywhere. Like I can at least make the case that like maybe Chris Duncan's a little better. Maybe it just like moving forward, tank on the feet a little bit. Like he has the advantage. Maybe I couldn't make the case at all for Vinicius outside of just he has more power. That was it.
Yeah, and we did questionable gas tank. We didn't even know what we were going to get out of him. The only reason I said he could autocorrect is because this is his opportunity to shine in 5 rounds. He's finally got 5 rounds to play with. I want him to go berserker mode because MOICANO, once he's hurt, he can't bounce back after he's like really hurt. Like meaning the damage just wears on him. Like sometimes you have gas tanks based upon legit just running work, right? I don't look at MOICANO as that guy. I feel like the accumulation of damage through rounds really hurts him down the stretch, and then he starts losing rounds. You see, I'm going to probably take some money on overs here, right? Like I'm probably going to like ladder the overs on this fight. That's just how wild I am. I don't mind if I get
your fucking nutsack the entire time.
I don't mind if I get laughed at. It's fine. It's just I feel like there's a world where it corrects, and inside the distance is strong for Duncan. It was minus 110. I said it's plus 105 now. I mean, price per dollar, MOICANO plus 180 for his price tag is one of the best on the slate, right? Like
what for
inside the distance line correlated to price. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but he's going to be the highest owned fighter on the card. So, and
do you see a world where you fade the main event? I feel like I can build lineups when I said fading main event. You so many things have to go right, but 15% of the field are paying rake if the fight here is optimal.
I don't think I'm fading the main event in DFS, so I'm gonna have 100% of this fight. So no, I don't think I can. I think it's gonna be majority MOICANO just because I'm planting my flag on MOICANO just how I have been doing it for most of them. But
Isaac, I gotta fight you. It's almost like he was fighting the Spider-Man meme, right? Pointing at each other. Isn't Turner and MOICANO's durability somewhat of the same? Where it's like, I don't know. I feel like both of the guys.
That fight was wild.
He did bounce back, but it's like Turner, his head was out. He's kind of got that thing
Turner
in his
was
brain.
like every time he hurt him, he'd like look at the ref and be like, like he's on the ground and the ref's like, go, and Turner's
definitely a top 10 comeback.
I mean,
yeah. I guess there's a difference between a dummy and.
I mean, Turner's super skilled, so I remember that because I was on Turner in that fight, and I was like,
we were cashing, we were spending the money,
and he's yelling at the ref like, because MOICANO's hurt and he knows it. Instead of just going until the ref stops the damn fight, like that's a great example of like, don't look at the ref, like just go in. Alexa Grasso did the right thing. She knocked her down. She could have stopped. You don't think Alexa Grasso knew she was knocked out? Like, no, of course she knew she was knocked out, and she still went for that choke because she's like, the ref didn't stop the fight. I'll just keep fighting. You don't like stop and wait for the ref, and that's what Turner kept doing. If he didn't do that, he wins that fight. He finishes that fight easily. But
yeah, I don't know how we landed on that one, but I just
chat brought it up.
Yeah. Turner
and
awesome.
At runpuresports.com. Nate, UFC picks.
You know what we didn't do this slate? We didn't do a pick 6.
We should pull it up.
Pull it on up. Let's see.
Right.
What were some of the spots you and I were agreeing on?
Did we agree on more or less? I can't remember.
I think
we agreed on some spots.
I've got Alice Pereira up. Are you talking about that? What are you talking about?
I can't remember. I cannot remember. Well, while I pull this up, why don't you give a bet or two that you like, since we smacked that yesterday while I pull this up?
Unfortunately, I have to say it's probably an underdog type of sprinkle slate for me. Robert Ruscala, like that line is wild when it, especially if you get him after the first round, he could still be plus like 150 if it's a close, and he's getting offensive wrestling that could close like minus 150 if he wins the first round, and that would be value. When I'm talking about betting side of things, we're kind of, I just think I like the hopes of the world. You and I both like Cowan to upset. I like Gatto, you like Barbosa. I understand not touching that one out of all of the fights. That one has the most push and pull. So I can't fault you on that one. Vanata by submission is one of those sprinkles I absolutely love just for upside, right? It's not slam this play. It's when I'm looking for upside, I want to play like that. Definitely a good setup. We need a little sticker to our left, your right.
It's not finished either. I got more. I got more coming. It's not finished.
What about a neon Run Pure Sports sign? You get one of those ones from China. You know that guy?
I do need like some type of Run Pure Sports sign at some point in here, but
that guy was at the fights. You know the little guy I'm talking about, that TikTok guy that makes the funny TikToks. Like I'm not a TikTok guy.
Idea.
Dude, I'm not a TikTok guy, but I know this guy.
Oh, you're more of a TikTok guy than I am, because I have no idea what you're talking
about.
Probably
hit Facebook or something. I don't know. But he makes these funny videos. He's a Chinese guy that makes these neon signs, right? And he was at the road to UFC in the front row because his shit went so viral. Just to make a pivot there. But yes, we do need the Run Pure Sports in the background there for you, JSU. Pick 6, you're just looking at the whole board here, aren't you? You're just saying, give me a bunch of options.
I got it up.
Do we think we can go under on some of the spots on fantasy points that we don't like? Like
definitely
Tommy McMillan? I can get behind that for you.
I can get behind that too, because even like a sub that's after the first minute, we might get away with.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like
Tony, the sign guy. Yeah, thank you, Isaac. Yeah, Tommy McMillan is our first play under. It's you.
What about Duncan under?
I'm not. No. I'm a Duncan guy, but yes, I understand your.
Wait, you're betting Duncan? Oh, unbelievable. We got through that whole thing great, and then I just realized Mike's betting Duncan after that whole thing.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to do it.
That's all right.
Oh yeah, you don't want it. I don't want to.
What about Delano's significant strikes? What's that at?
He should get stalled out absolutely from the grappling that you and I talked about.
Yeah, but what's the number?
I'm looking right now. I've got it 70.5 for him. Under slam dunk.
You want to bet the under there?
You got outs to an early knockout for Delano. You've got the outs to Ruscala holding him and getting him down to the cage. That might be the strongest play you and I have at the moment.
Let's see. Any other significant strike unders you like before we go somewhere else?
Probably give me a second to pull it back up on my screen. I got you nice and small.
I mean, Pat should be under.
Move, fighter.
33.5. I mean, the guy doesn't throw. And if he does throw, he's going to knock this dude out.
So what are you saying, under?
I'm saying under. What do you think?
I don't hate it, especially with the grappling potential.
Okay.
So that's definitely, I can co-sign that one. Barbosa under on strikes, but you probably want her to just go to war and win.
I don't like it because I don't think there's grappling. I don't think there's wrestling. I think it's striking.
Would you and I fading Pereira be a potential for her strikes? Problem is that's her whole game plan, is to dance around in and out.
Yes, that's her game plan.
Costa technically should be over, just for the record.
I want to go Costa over on fantasy points.
What is he, undervalued?
90.5.
Yeah, let's give me that. That correlates very well to his money line.
Yeah. What about takedowns here? see if we got a takedown line we like. Thomas Peters over 1.5. Peterson over 1.5.
Give me a minute to pull up. I like the look.
We got Verna over 1.5. I mean, I think both
that
those
correlates well. That's a really good correlated one with Verna. But
Verna, do you want to go Verna and Peterson, or do you want to go somewhere else?
Well, we know we have Peterson. Move to another one just so we can see.
Okay.
Do we have any? We don't have a knockout play like we had in our pick 6 last week. Remember, we had the knockout.
I don't really like the knockouts unless you see something.
No. Also, Verna is a great play on all formats because the line starts at 2.5.
Yeah.
For takedowns. Fantasy points would be the one. I wish they give us the dogs that we can go under again. Do we go under on Alice? If the problem with her is she could just absolutely outstrike her on the feet.
Yeah, and if she wins, she's probably going to get slightly over that. You like Reichi or don't like Reichi? I forget.
No, don't like Reichi.
Less than 55.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
We're right there. We cooked.
Cooked.
Isn't that what the kids
Look at
said?
that.
We cooked that thing up and we cooked it up.
That thing up easy. Look at that. All right. So here's what we got here. Bunch of unders and couple overs here. Tommy McMillan under 104.5 fantasy points. Jose Delano under 70.5 significant strikes. Pat under on 33.5 significant strikes. Costa over on 90.5 fantasy points. And Verna over on 1.5 takedowns. And then Tabitha Reichi under on 55.5 fantasy points here. They didn't give me a boost today. Well, what the hell?
I know it's selective. It's when that's March Madness ending. All the boosts are over for those guys. So make sure you tune. Well, good pivot. Make sure you tune into the next show where you will be able to use your DraftKings boost.
That's a good point, Mike. There you go. Next show is going to be college basketball. Those boys, I'm sure, are firing it up as we speak. There's the pick 6 there on the board. If you guys missed it, keep it up there for a second. And yeah, it was a fun show. I'm definitely betting MOICANO. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm betting MOICANO here. So that'll be my bet. I think sub 2 at plus 250 is interesting. And then the long shot would be like the Manalo or the Vanata sub would be the 2 long shots. But
You've been cooking those dogs, man. You've just been printing money on the dogs, and
I like Barbosa and Verna money line as well. Those are 2 other money lines I like as well. You don't like Barbosa?
Decisive. Like I like Gatto quite a bit. Like I would look to her, but like I said,
this is fair. This is a fair breakdown. I'm going with Tommy. I just can't get behind the wings. I found it so crazy. That is a fair, way to look at it. I'm okay with that.
Have we had back wear into a fight? I think that might be like the first
time.
Dude,
that's the first time I've seen wings. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we've identified hat. We've identified the hat being Jadoba on this slate. And I think we kind of gave the breakdown of how to build some lineups profitable on this slate. So I don't think we have to go over it again. But you and I liking Costa as kind of a zigzag off of some of the certain people. And for me, this is my risk tolerance. I like Vanata a lot at that 20%. There's 2 fighters at 20 as favorites. It's him. And in a ceiling win, Delano could be key. Would you agree? Like, even though you and I both like Ruscala, a ceiling win for him at like 115 points, a knockout first round at 20%, kind of opens the slate up, makes it very interesting.
Yep, it does. And that's going to do it here, Mike. I think we broke down every single thing from pick 6, betting, DFS, the whole thing right here. That's what you get at Run Pure Sports. You get everything. You don't just get bets. You don't just get DFS. You don't just get pick 6. Get the whole thing here. Futures. Shout out Kevin Vallejos, future champion of Argentina. We need it, buddy. We need it. 2026 is your year. But we'll see you guys next week. For Mike, I'm John. Good luck in your DraftKings, MMA, DFS, and betting on DK Sportsbook. And we'll catch you guys next week. We're out. Peace.